The conversation continues. Welcome, everybody. I'm Michael DeSmeek, freelance writer for Starship Adventures RPG and lead writer on Captain's Log, also a writer for Star Trek fiction and a bunch of other stuff that you'll hear about, I'm sure. And of course, the show where we go over everything about the RPG plus some storytelling, all that would not be a show without my erstwhile ally, Jim Johnson.
Hey everybody, Jim Johnson. I am the project manager and line editor for the Star Trek Adventures RPG, published by Modiphius Entertainment. Also the line editor and project manager for the Captain's Log solo RPG and a bunch of other stuff. So super excited to be the co-host on this here show, going into our year 4 here, 160 odd episodes strong, never stopping. Always got more Star Trek to talk about, more Star Trek Adventures to talk about. That's not going to stop this year. We got lots of cool releases coming up and lots of stuff to talk about. And one of the linchpins, one of the foundational elements of Star Trek Adventures these last 8 years has been the amazing character builder app that was first created by Christoph and then super wonderfully picked up and managed by our special guest tonight, BC Holmes. I'm going to have BC do the introduction. So without more ado, BC.
Hi, I'm BC Holmes. I'm the current maintainer of the Star Trek Character Creator App. You guys talk about all these different accomplishments that you do, and I just have this one thing.
Yeah, but it's something everybody loves, so it's okay.
Well,
it's more important than anything I do.
I'll say it also is probably one of the biggest single-handed reasons people jump into the game is because it makes it so easy for them to create characters. So I don't know, we owe a lot to you.
It's so good.
Thank you.
I mean, it's so good because you've added so much stuff to it, right? It's not just a character builder anymore. It's sectors, it's tokens, it's just so much stuff. And I'm sure you'll be talking about some of your enhancements tonight. But yeah, thank you, BC.
Yeah,
cannot possibly thank you enough for all the hard work that you're putting into the app. And
yeah, I think this. Oh, go ahead. This is the.
I was going to say you're gonna plug the Patreon, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely plugging the Patreon because that's an update we'll talk about. But every so often, I think this is the third time we've had BC come on about updates to the character creator. You came on once, but every so often there's updates, and every time I think I'm up to date, I'm actually not. So that's why I always invite BC on the show, because she has the little corners of the website, the STA Character Creator, that she points out new treasures, new gems. And so take it away, BC. Tell us about some of the latest updates, and I will be talking about your Patreon before we close off today's show.
Cool, yeah. All right. So, I mean, I think there are a handful of things. Probably the one I'll tackle last because it has the biggest impact is support for second edition, which is kind of cool. But before we talk about support for second edition, there's a handful of really cool things out there that I'm quite fond of. So one of those cool things is support for tactical assets. I'm going to share my screen. I think that we talked about the fact that people who are listening to us on the podcast probably can't see my screen, which is a sadness, but
we'll try to be descriptive as possible. Indeed. YouTube people will enjoy seeing it as she shares screen, but we'll try to describe it.
Cool. And so let's say, for the sake of argument, that I go into the app and I'm selecting all of my sources. And one of the sources that I happen to choose is the Federation Klingon War source. One of the things I can do is I can go in and after I navigate through the appropriate number of screens here, I can say, hey, let's get the tactical assets set up over here. And then I can start just adding in some tactical assets. So let's say I click the add button, it will randomly generate Administrator Nancy Hedford for me. Let's say I want specifically to get a ship asset, so then it's going to get me the USS Montana, etc. And the thing I think is really cool is if I actually go in and I actually try to look at one of these things, it will show me a really abbreviated version of the sheet for the USS Montana with all of the different stats for the USS Montana. And importantly, it actually has this export button that I can click and it will generate myself a Spader card for the USS Montana.
I did not know this. See? That's cool.
Spader cards. Yeah,
I don't know if you noticed that, but as it downloads the file, the file name is actually a USS Montana Spader card.
Wow. And is it the ones pulled from Continuing Mission that Al designed?
They're actually all dynamically generated. So sadly, they don't have any images in them, but they do resemble that one. I think if I open this, you won't see it because I'm only sharing the browser screen at the moment.
Well, feel free if you want to scan those from us and somehow work those into a PDF. I know Al would not mind.
Well, I'm curious.
So,
I mean, does the infrastructure have the ability at some future date to add an image to each of these?
yeah. So I've already started thinking about how I'm going to do that, but they don't currently do it. Just it's going to require me to grab a whole bunch of art assets, and I have to, just because the nature of the site, I don't want to steal things I don't have permission to use, etc. I want to make sure that I have art assets that are cleared to include in this website, which is a thing that I have to pay attention to.
Hint, Jim.
I mean,
so yeah, that's a cool thing.
We'll talk.
There are also
that's
some,
super cool, by the way. I mean, that just increases that enhances the viability. It enhances the usability of the tactical campaign book in leaps and bounds. Like I know we've talked about it on the show before, but when Michael and I did a few of the playthroughs of it on the show, and Michael was able to pull up the Spader cards, that added just a whole nother dimension to actually being able to play through that tactical campaign in a way that I didn't get when I was just sitting on my table or sitting at my table, rolling dice and playing it and just trying to use my brain and the text. Having those cards is just amazing. And now that you got the ability to generate them within this tool here, is super sweet.
Very cool. Another feature that's gone in here is the ability to generate random starships. So for a while, I've had this ability to create random NPCs so that you can generate some NPCs. I keep adding like little tweaks here and there to the random NPCs, but now I can also generate random starships. And initially, this was only about Starfleet starships, but now I can support a whole bunch of 3 other options here, including
that
say
so badly. That's so cool.
some Romulan starships. Let's say I want to generate myself a Romulan starship, and this one has given me a Talis class space frame, and it figures out some service year appropriate talents for things.
Can I see a Klingon one? Can you generate a Klingon one too?
Sure, let's grab Klingon, and so there's a drop down thing here for starship type that I can select. I can go, hey, let's get Klingon type. This one's happened to generate a Burrell class bird of prey.
Nice.
And it looks like this is a relatively older space frame, and so I've got a whole bunch of refits that I've managed to grab out of that. And again, I can generate myself some PDFs off of that.
And that's for first edition. Can it do the same thing for second edition starships?
Yes, I think this is in fact a second edition. So
I saw the power ready on the side there, which would suggest first edition.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So you're right. I have not in fact suppressed the power item on here. So you're right. There are a couple of areas on this sort of view page that we're looking at where I do some tweaks for things depending on the edition. Like for example, for characters, if it's a first edition character, I will show the word disciplines on the screen. And if it's the second edition character, I will show the word departments on the screen.
Of course, I'm going to demand that you pronounce the name of this ship for me.
I cannot pronounce the name of that ship for me. The IKS Kurdgosh.
That's not right. That sounds right.
Something like that.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I'll just be guttural. That's the key to saying Klingon names, I think. Just be guttural. But interestingly, I'm also very keenly interested in civilian starships more recently. There are unfortunately only a handful of civilian starships that have been statted up, including statted up on the Continuing Missions website. So this happened to pull out a J class, Y class. Sorry, I just clicked the button to generate myself a civilian starship. The J class, Y class, of course, comes from Utopia Planitia. But if I generate another random one, so here's the Merchantman class starship. And again, this space frame is directly from Continuing Missions. I think you guys have 2 different versions of the Merchantman space frame on the Continuing Mission site.
Cool.
So that's a lot of fun.
And BC, I may have missed it, but when you're on this screen and you're picking your Starship type and your campaign year, does the campaign year influence the number of points that are in the systems and departments?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. I know I use this a lot for building ships, but to me, I really need the Klingon one. So that's going to be like really. Do you know how many different Klingon ships are in there? If I go back to like 2299,
Yeah, good question.
2293.
I do not know how many different ones there are. I
Just
would
curious.
have to go back and take a look.
Well, there were a handful of space frames in the Klingon core book, and then we added more with the Discovery campaign guide.
Yeah, because I'm planning to do some, Kitamura Accords action. So
nice.
So that's fun. Tokens is another area that just keeps getting more and more stuff in here. I'm actually at this exact moment in time sitting on a handful of new art assets that I've received from my artist who has provided almost all of the lion's share of the art assets in here. So
they have a Frozen, Jim, a Frozen.
Yeah, the Frozens are always good fun. A new one is the Zindi Arboreal, which is also good fun. I'm at the point where I basically have most of the original alpha and beta quadrant species for it, like the Grazerites.
Check out the cetaceans so the people can see it. For those watching, she has cetaceans in here and they're the cutest. They're amazing.
So somebody
that's amazing
on a couple of different social media sites and was very keenly interested in seeing the cetaceans being added. And so I said, okay, fine. I'll arrange with my artist to get the cetaceans.
I tend to notice in Star Trek Adventures, people try to throw 1 or 2 cetaceans on their ships. I like, because of course, no budget constraints, you can get away with that. Right. But it makes me kind of happy to see that George and Gracie had such an effect on the Federation.
The one thing that's a little sad is like,
it might have been cetaceans in lower decks too.
Yeah. The one thing that's a little sad is that, cetaceans, because they have a very different body type, at the moment I can really only support a couple of the uniforms for the cetaceans. So I have a lower decks uniform and I have a standard Dominion War uniform. I think of that as standard because that's the one that happens by default.
I love it. What? No monster maroons yet for the cetaceans?
Not for the cetaceans. You have to
honestly. Well, to the point, I don't think you would, because George and Gracie were the first cetaceans to become ambassadors to the species, and that happened during the movie era. So I don't think they would have inducted themselves into Starfleet till a uniform change.
Fair. Oh, I love that you have options for the Bolians. That's
There are a handful of things that have options. Like I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but like I have all these different Klingon foreheads that I can select from, including like the Mark Leonard ridge.
Oh yeah. Can I see the Kucha?
And that was just relatively straightforward.
But no Discovery Klingons yet.
Oh, okay.
Sadly,
Discovery Klingons. We need Discovery.
Oh yeah. I'm begging for. I'll pay for that one. Tell your artist. I'll commission.
Yeah, and so another thing that I think is kind of interesting is that very recently I started embracing the Star Trek Online. So I can include.
Does Thomas Maroney know that? Does Thomas Maroney know?
I don't know. I don't suspect he spends a whole lot of time on my website, but
you'd be surprised.
Maybe he'll watch this video. And
I'm definitely gonna ping him when this comes out. He'll be thrilled by that, I'm sure.
So yeah, that's also kind of fun as well. Tokens continue to elaborate and get more interesting stuff in them.
Can you open the uniform types again? I want to see how many are in there again.
Sure.
1, 2. So I got. Oh wow.
Yeah, the Binars, the Cardassian military. I have a whole bunch of civilian options here. So let's say I wanted to have this casual wear.
Oh, David's dead. That's the David outfit. That's
you killed my son.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, this is great for people who aren't watching this on the podcast. I know, we're having visuals. So BC is going through not only the species, but also the costumes available that are even non-Starfleet costumes.
I love that you have Jillian Taylor's costume.
Yeah, Jillian Taylor's costume. So please go back and watch this YouTube after, and of course, go to the Character Creator online.
Wait a minute, is that the one to the left? That's Dr. Leah Brahms, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
Oh
my goodness.
Oh, yeah, that sure is.
My goodness.
And I see even the Betazoid one. Is that looks like a Troy?
Yeah, that's Troy.
That's
this is Raffi's outfit from Card Season 1.
Yep.
So this is cool.
These deep cuts are awesome.
And open up the uniform type again for me too, while you're go ahead.
like you couldn't do this on your own, Michael.
Making sure that all of the stuff that appears on the thing actually comes from some episode somewhere.
We're so hyper.
Oh gosh,
you Klingon armor.
Wow.
you get the Klingon cut in the front. Oh my gosh.
And the rank. And you have the rank too for the
with the sashes. Like a Cruise.
That's important.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Oh, you even got different rank symbols. Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is important. You're making my game so much easier. This is going to make my Kitamura card game so good when people go to make their character tokens.
I'm actually sitting on a handful of additional Klingon assets that will probably be in place by the time this airs.
Sweet.
So yeah, then I got like next gen, obviously, original series. The Makos were one that was kind of fun to throw in here. Because who doesn't like a good Mako every once in a while?
Yeah. And BC, I haven't played with this. I'm just so excited just watching it. But is there a means to create a token and then cross-port it or import it into the character sheet?
I think the only way, pardon me, I think currently the only way you can do that is with one of the new second edition character sheets has a place where you can drop in a character picture. I think that's the only way.
Would you save the token as a graphic and then import it into the sheet? Okay,
exactly.
I wasn't sure if the tool could do that automatically.
At the moment, no. It's certainly a thing that I've thought about a few times.
So you show me all these cool pieces, and then I want to know how they connect.
Wow! So I imagine the process on that is people would go through the character creation, and then they would create a token, and then it would generate that. Oh wow! Oh, okay. Maybe
Oh, nice.
I have some really obscure ones in here, like the Sulaban, which I quite enjoy, and I just every once in a while I feel like I should have some more enterprise love in the site.
You even got the white for medical. That's great.
Yeah, I have a medical variant here for the smock. I don't yet have the scant version of it, unfortunately.
Well, when you mentioned that real quick, Mbenga wore blue, right? Science blue.
It's a lighter blue.
It's a lighter blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then why would Nurse? Why would she wear white? Because she's a nurse, but there's doctors who wear white too, right?
Yeah.
I think the nurse in Star Trek and in Strange New Worlds, it's the nurses wear white and the doctors wear blue. And it's interesting that like if you see the episodes where either Mbenga or Nurse Chapel go down on an away mission or something like that, they end up in the standard uniform. The difference being that Nurse Chapel's undershirt is white as opposed to black, but Mbenga's is in the standard uniform and not his sort of medical smock.
But in Discovery, doctors wear white.
That's correct. Right. I don't yet support the Discovery uniform.
Okay. Well, you could use this. You could use this probably as a holdover if you need a token for it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It happens that just today I was adding in a new Romulan uniform. I think the one which is one of my favorite Romulan uniforms, which is the one from Star Trek Nemesis.
Those crazy checkerboards. Yeah.
I love that.
I'm sorry, what did you say about the Discovery uniforms? You don't have support for those yet?
I don't have the Discovery uniforms, sadly. So there's no Discovery here.
We're so mad at you. We're so mad at you, BC.
Is that a technical challenge or just haven't gotten to them yet?
Just haven't gotten to them yet.
Okay, got it.
Some of the uniforms just have a few more things that you have to do with them, and Discovery is one of them. I don't know if you noticed, but the captain's version of the Discovery uniform is slightly different than everyone else's. They have the additional gold pads. Braiding.
Yeah.
Exactly. The insignia is slightly different because they include the rank on the insignia, and there's just a couple of stuff like that just makes it slightly more complicated. The Strange New Worlds one was one that was slightly more complicated because I actually show the patterning that appears on the shoulders. Ridiculously, I probably went
That's so
overboard
cool.
on.
I love that though. I love the texture. Yeah, looks really
And
good.
you see, like the command variant has the
That's a
command
big deal,
symbol, and the
Yeah, I love the
science variant
costume
has.
on Strange New. I love that they hearken to TOS, but it's still so stylish and doesn't look tacky at all, even though the colors are solid. I think they did a really good job with the design on it. Very cool.
Indeed.
All right. We can play with this all day. We better find something else. This will be a whole hour on just combinations alone.
Yeah.
And so the big thing is probably the idea that I now support second edition. So one of the selections you have to make on an early screen in the site is if you're going to use the core, i.e. the first edition, or if you're going to use the core 2e, i.e. the second edition. And you can only choose one of these two at the moment. And depending on which one of them you choose, you either get a first edition character or a second edition character. So essentially the steps are more or less the same with a couple little variations that happen along the way.
Question. So
Sorry.
if I hit select all, is it going to default to core or to 2e?
It'll keep whatever one you have currently selected. So I think the first time you come into the site, the only one that will be selected is core. And so if you select all, it will select all of them except for the core 2e.
Got it. So everyone just needs to change it. Okay. I didn't know that. Thank you.
No worries. And so if you select these things and start making characters, that will make them in the appropriate flavor, including if you do like the NPCs. Let's say I select a random NPC and I don't know, let's maybe do some civilian. No, let's go for the ruffians because they're always fun. And so I've managed to generate myself an Orion pirate here. And a cool element of the fact that I now support 2e is I support a couple of second edition styled character sheets. And so there's the standard second edition style character sheet.
There's something else I just noticed, and I didn't know if you would have this. You have special rules in here. Is that new?
Yeah. Well, not really. It's been in here for NPCs. So some of the special rules are just talents, but others are actually special rules. So there are a number of special rules that are applied to different types of NPCs. So for example, there's a handful of special rules that apply to Ferengi NPCs and a handful of special rules that apply to.
Got it. So it's random, but we can't yet make minor,
that's correct,
notable or major NPCs yet, right?
You can't specify them yourself. The only way to create them is via random selection.
Okay. So what I've done oftentimes is because I like having the sheet look really good. I've actually exported it to a PDF and then I go in and make whatever modifications I want. On special rule, like I may want to change, like because it's random and it may not. I may need a more command character than something like that. So I've gone and exported and then had to manually change it. Yeah.
So one of these character sheets, I started off styling it very similar to the way the character sheets appeared in the starter, or sorry, the quick start set, not the starter set, the quick start set. So there's a particular look to the character sheets in the quick start that I really quite enjoyed, and sort of modeled a version of the character sheet on that. I'm probably getting a bit too close into stealing your trade dress, which is probably bad on me. But one of the things that I particularly love about this particular character sheet is that depending on what type of character you have, it actually does the thing that you do in the quick start, which is that it shows the characters in different colors. So it shows the main elements of the sheets in different colors. So this particular Orion pirate, if I selected this particular sheet and I printed it out, it would come in that sort of light green color of the Orion pirates. Klingons are in a red color. Starfleet characters will appear in their division color, and there's logic in there that says if I'm in the TOS era, then the division colors have command yellow, and if I'm in TNG era, the division colors have command red, etc. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff about that as well, which I quite enjoy.
It's all in the details. So nice.
There's a version of the sheet that was inspired by I think his guy's name is Matt Capiche. He had posted this sort of style on the Modiphius Discord and like the fan art section, and it was basically a version of the sheet that's intended to be folded up into like a tent card. So if, let's say, you're playing a tabletop game at a con or something like that, you can have the sheet, but you can like fold it, and it serves as like telling the other players who your character is, they can address you appropriately. But it also has like your stats on the back of the tent card, so you can easily reference, what is my
my
department of
gotta love
this,
you
and
fans.
what are my so I thought that was kind of cool, and it was
that's really smart for like convention play.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's cool.
So yeah, I think that's
yeah.
that's
STA
the
fans
majority
rock.
of the new stuff.
yeah, the STA fans are amazing.
Yeah, there's also though. Do we have other tools? Did we talk about other tools last time? Yeah, I think we need to add that to your explanation.
You're right.
Yeah,
there's probably a couple of things in here. So you're right. I did this so long ago. I sort of forgot about it. But one of the things that oh man, I'm blanking on his name.
I remember this.
But the guy who does all that interesting Star Trek inspired music suggested to me that,
and you play Andy Luton.
That's his.
Yeah, he played with me. He played at my game when we were in D8 Summit back in Dixon, Illinois. He jumped and joined my game. It was so nice to meet him. Hey, Andy, shout out to you.
And so he had suggested that it would be cool if we could actually have like the safety checklist on the tools area. So you can actually have your players go through and select, what their thoughts are about are any of these things showstoppers for people, or X cards for people, or red alerts for people, I guess is the language that we use here. And then once somebody has filled this out, then they can export it into a paper version or a PDF version, and they could send it to their GM, so the GM can consolidate all of the information and find out where the tricky areas of a campaign might be.
Yeah.
But here's a cool one for you. I don't know if you have noticed this yet, Michael, but we also have
what is
this idea. You had suggested this originally, which is the ability to have random tables in here. So here's a table that I've stolen from the Continuing Missions website. Things that could go wrong while visiting an alien bar, and I can just like roll this and say, okay, what we got is a misunderstood community.
One step closer to my dream, Jim.
I can create my own tables for that. So let's say I want to create another probability matrix.
I surrender.
Like
Michael's head just exploded.
Sorry, you just earned a Bill Barbado black alert.
Yeah.
Go wrong on a continuing conversation.
Wow.
What could go wrong?
Now, is this something that you would just manually type in yourself, or do you have like
exactly
an AI tool built into here to help generate them?
I don't have an AI tool, I'm afraid to say. So maybe we have sound issues.
Michael interrupting because he's excited.
And so the way this works is like it always tries to make sure that that they're always the numbers from 1 to 20 are specified.
Okay.
So I don't know if you noticed, if I just changed my second row here to be roll 3 to 3, this thing down here just suddenly jumped up to be a 4. And if I turn this into like a 6, this suddenly turned into a 7. And if I suddenly go here and I want to make you an 8, then suddenly I got a whole new row in here.
Oh, nice.
There we go. Whoa. Okay. Now I have questions about this. So once it's saved, though, do I have to export, or is it going to be here for me to refer to later?
It will be saved in your browser. So as long as you're using it with the same browser, that table will remain. And here's another thing that's kind of cool about it, which is that, let's say I've created one of these tables. Maybe I want to go in and I want to share that table with somebody else, and I can actually take this particular URL and I can send that URL to a friend. And if they open that URL, they will end up loading that table into their own version of this as well.
So if I load all the future tables I create and then take that link and drop it in Continuing Mission, people could refer to it from then on?
Yep.
Thank you. I will be doing thank you. And then that way it'll also be responsive to their device, whether they're on a cell phone or a PC, right?
Exactly.
This is great.
And so right now I want to be clear, like this is a simple version of the tables. It's like one table with relatively straightforward role, but I've already started thinking about, how do you support the different types of things? Like maybe I have a result that results in two rolls, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I have a subtable. So if I roll a 20, I'm rolling on table 2, and I get a special case of different options on table 2, etc. Not yet there, but it's sort of part of the plan.
You're sending me into my mind palace. I'm just like, my mind is going on what I could do with this. And like, imagine. So here's another idea for all of you who play on Discord. Imagine if you have a special channel on your Discord with your players where all the links are listed. So as you're playing through Discord, you tell them, you know what, go to the channel and go roll on jungle environment, predators you meet in a jungle environment. Now they can roll on that and instantly cut and paste that into your narrative if you're playing in Discord. This is one step closer, BC, to what I've been dreaming app could do to enable people to play mobily all over the world simultaneously, like texting. This is great.
Very cool. So yeah, that's another capability in there. Not sure what the other tools might be, but
I mean,
as I continue to imagine things.
That is great. First of all, that is a great place to discuss that. Any questions, Jim, before I start promoting her Patreon? Okay. BC, amazing. Now, this is new, and I was so glad. I know you had a discussion like, well, should I? One thing you asked me, like, I was thinking about doing a Patreon. I'm the kind of person who really appreciates anyone who does any kind of art or tech that makes my gaming experience better. I know I'm one of your supporters on Patreon. Can you tell us about how people could find your Patreon?
Well, at the moment, it's really easy because there's a reference to it on the homepage of the site. There's also the weird little oddly shaped Patreon logo down in the underneath the credits over here. And then if you actually go into the credits, I have references to like, there's a link also to my Patreon there, and a reference to the senior staff of my Patreon, including this one here, Michael Dismuke.
He's a cool guy. He's nice.
I've heard good things about him.
Yeah, he's all right. Very cool. And then how can you show the levels of the support?
Sure. Whoosh. At the moment, let's see, what are the levels of support? Where can I show the levels of support? See, I'm only half familiar with it. Okay, so here we are. So we've got 3 levels. There's an ensign level, a lieutenant level, and a commander level. I'm Canadian, so I should call it lieutenant. But
I never did understand that.
It's just traditional pronunciation. Nothing ever makes any sense. So, so the ensign level is, like your most straightforward level. You get access to my developer blog, etc. At the lieutenant level, you get the ability to vote on new features. So my goal is like to get into a sort of every other month rhythm. So one month I will like try to talk about some potential upcoming changes, and then the subsequent month I'm going to do a poll to see what should be the new features that I work on for the upcoming batch. I did a sort of simplified version of that in December where I said, hey, here are some things I'm thinking, and just listing opinions. And then the top level at the moment is this commander level. And so the commander level gives you all the benefits of the lieutenant level, and you additionally get credited on the credits page as part of the senior staff.
Yeah. What I really like about this actually is your transparency too. I've seen this on very few Patreons where, I love that you put how many members at what dollar amount. And I was like, oh, that's so cool, because again, you've been doing this for years on a volunteer basis, just like we do on continuing missions and, so many of the other fans who put stuff out there, but it does take time. And I've always, my jaw drops at how much love you put into the character creator. And I know a lot of other people out there appreciate it too. So you deserve every dollar you get. And I know you make gaming so easy for literally, I'm guessing thousands of players out there and game masters. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I started because I started to, be interested in trying to offset just some of the costs that are associated with it. There's never been large costs, but just offsetting those costs has been helpful.
Yeah,
Like for
that's
example,
fair.
I mentioned that I just got a whole bunch of art assets from my artist, and like I pay him for that work. And it happens that this is the first time I've taken the money from the Patreon. I'm using it to pay him for these art assets.
Good.
I think that's cool.
Well, I
don't
definitely
want
would be
this to
buying
turn-
you all coffees if you lived in my neighborhood every week. I'd be like, coffee for her.
Thank you.
This is cheaper than coffee, so that's okay.
I don't want to get into a world where I'm trying to, have a tool that does more for the patrons than it does for non-patrons. I don't want that. I like the fact that the tool is free. I like the fact that it is easy for everyone to access, and I think that helps to promote the game. Like I think that helps get people into the game, and I think that's a cool thing.
Totally agree. Wonderful. Yeah. So I'm again, people, it's easier to find PC's Patreon because you just have to go to the Star Trek Adventures character creator, and it's insignia right there in the upper right hand corner to click on it if you want to support. Even, I always say I do different Patrons for different reasons. Like there could be somebody who's doing a project I like, and I'll support for like 3 or 4 months, just while I'm maybe utilizing something, or others I'll always just support for years because I just know we're always going to get high quality, content. So this is great.
Cool. So those, I think, are the updates.
Awesome. And are you interested or willing to share a little bit about like preview of upcoming tools and features that you're going to include down the road?
Yeah. So as I've mentioned a couple of times, I've got a whole bunch of art assets to improve the token generator. I continue to be interested in expanding the Starship creation capabilities. So that's another area that I'm quite keen on. Some of what will probably happen is would relate to whatever books are coming up, which Modifius has been a little mum on that front. But as new books come along, I'm sure there's going to be new stuff. I'm guessing that there's going to be a new book at some point.
Oh yes, don't worry. There will be new books. Absolutely.
You will have quite some work to do.
I think, yeah. Well, especially with those. Well, I can't give anything away. We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk off stage.
Well, let me talk about just something I'm going to do for my own group now. I know you've killed a whole entire day for me because I'm going to have to go now into the probability matrix, go to all the probability matrices we have, and just for my personal group, I want to have that on there. I'm not going to put it on continuing missions because that's, copyrighted material. It shouldn't go on there. But for those probability matrices, I'm going to start just putting them on, like the mission type. Like when I'm playing now, think about if I'm out on a vacation and I have my phone with me, I can take all the tables from Captain's Log, program them myself, give them to myself, and I have it on my phone. I don't even need the book. So I'm just like thrilled beyond measure, BC. With this is so cool. So that's something you've enabled. I mean, that's really seriously, I've been dreaming about that for 3 years. So it's so cool.
I think you were the one who first suggested it to me, so I'm glad you're happy with it.
Yeah, cool. All right, is it time for gratitude then? Was there anything else that you were planning on updates or coming out soon?
Those are the key things at the moment.
Okay, well, we'll have you back for sure when you have more updates, as we always love to do.
Cool.
All right. Cool. So I'll go ahead and start with gratitude. BC stole all my gratitude today. Sorry. Whoever I was going to say thank you to before, forget it. Sorry. You're next week, maybe. But really, honestly, BC again, and to the fans, I think you lead the pack of fans that are out there making the game easier for everybody. So much appreciation to you. I choose to show my appreciation through supporting your Patreon, but other people just spread the word about the character creator, whether you're a supporter in the Patreon or not, because to BC's point, the more people that have this tool are more likely to play and breed more players, which is totally cool. Grow more people playing the game. BC, your gratitude.
Sure. My gratitude is going to go to my new patrons. Thank you very kindly. I really appreciate it, and you've helped me to already elaborate some of the stuff that the character creator is doing. Thank you.
Yep, and my gratitude's got to go to you once again, BC. I think you've taken this incredible tool years ago, and even if all you did was maintain it, right, just exactly right where it was, and just like, okay, I'm going to keep the lights on, it would be amazing. But you've consistently gone above and beyond, and thrown all your passion and your love for Star Trek and everything into it, and you're just consistently coming up with all this cool stuff, all this cool stuff, all this cool stuff. And I can't thank you enough, because you've added so much to the game and to the game experience. And um, I wish there were more better ways that we could get new gamers to not just learn about the game, but also like immediately, okay, you know about the game, now go to the builder, Like I know we do it all the time on the social media channels, to like just keep reminding people that it's out there and available to them. And then every time if they've never heard of it, they're like, oh, this is great. I mean, it's an amazing tool. Yeah, can't thank you enough. Can't express my gratitude enough for everything that you're doing for this awesome builder, and also for the game. So thank you.
All right. I did you love it on social media when someone's like, "Hey, I just found this great tool called the." So yeah.
We know. But yes, we're so excited that you discovered it on your own without us telling you about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
UBC can be happy that you've helped thousands of humans squander hours away creating mini characters they'll never actually play. So congratulations for that.
I get this surprising like amount of joy when I see people posting like their prep for their game that's coming up, and I see, oh, they're using a character sheet that I created, and they're using tokens that from the token generator and stuff like that. It makes me very happy.
Leaving your mark on the Star Trek universe. It's wonderful. All right. Well, till next time, just so you know, we're going to have BC back next week, because we're talking all about trills. Until next time, IDIC.
Live long and prosper. Be safe, be well. We'll talk to you all next time.